Our organization, Millennium Mams, completes 30 years of empowering women through financial literacy. We study capital markets, the economy, and invest in companies and sectors that will be the growth drivers for India. Coming to a special guest today, our special guest is from an organization that truly practices gender equality throughout the group, the Tata Group. We share more than a decade-long association with the Tatas, and any event with the Tatas is extra special for us. Mr. Harris is an industry stalwart from Tata Technologies that has a motto, engineering a better world. He's an engineer from the University of Wales, Institute of Science and Technology with an advanced management program from Harvard Business School. He was also awarded with the Outstanding Services to the Nation as a member of the Board of Overseas of the Malcolm Baldrige Nation Quality Award for the period from 2013 to 2016. He has been with the Tata Technologies and its predecessor companies for more than 25 years. So let us all put our hands together for the CEO and MD of Tata Technologies, Mr. Warren Harris. Over to you, sir, for your keynote address.
Thank you very, very much for the opportunity of being able to join you on this incredibly important day, and let me extend my best wishes to everybody on International Women's Day. We've been celebrating in our campus in Pune the day and recognizing the efforts of many of our women engineers and women leaders, and I've been able to share with the team the purpose of Millennium Mams, and I must say that not only have I been very impressed with your purpose and what you've achieved since the inception of the organization, but I think everybody that I shared the story with today has really been very inspired by what you do. So congratulations to that. I have a brief presentation that I'll run through, and it positions the importance of diversity in the context of culture inside of an organization. I'll run through it relatively quickly, and then I look forward to opening it up for questions on this topic or any topic that relates to Tata Technologies or the industries and the markets that we serve. I'm sure many of you will know the Peter Drucker quote that culture eats strategy for breakfast. But as far as my journey is concerned, I'm an engineer, and the importance of this particular statement was something that only came to me very late in my career. As the introduction positioned, I attended Harvard Business School in 2011, and the attendance at the Advanced Management Program in Cambridge in Massachusetts is kind of a rite of passage for Tata execs that aspire to become managing directors and chief executives. The Advanced Management Program is a 3.5-month program. There's 175 C-level execs that study various cases 6 days a week for those 3.5 months. So it's a very intense program. And I went there as an engineer expecting to learn about finance and operations and how to use technology and how to squeeze competitive advantage out of the organizational and people decisions that I made. And yet what I learned at Harvard was that the multiplier effect for any company is one, leadership, and two, the environment that is created inside of an organization. What has become increasingly clear to me is even if you have the best and brightest serving your organization, even if you have tailwinds and are in markets that are providing opportunity, if you don't have the right culture, then it's difficult to leverage those advantages in support of success for the company. And diversity is central to the right culture. And I'll talk to you a little bit about what that means in the context of Tata Technologies. We've done a lot of work with a company called the Table Group out of San Francisco. The chairman of that organization is a guy by the name of Patrick Leccioni, and he asserts, and we've experienced, that a business is really made up of two parts. There is the smart part, and there is the healthy part. The smart part is the tangible side of the business, how you organize, what your strategy is, how you leverage technology, and how you manage your people. And it's this part of the business that typically business schools tend to focus on. And yet, what our experience has been, and certainly I've proven this through the interactions that I've had within the Tata Group and within the customer base that we support, increasingly, because information is ubiquitous, the half-life of any competitive advantage as far as organizational structure and the use of technology specifically is concerned is increasingly diminishing. And again, the real advantage that an organization can crystallize and institutionalize relates again to the environment, relates to how an organization behaves and how it manages the interactions with its people. And our view on organizational health is that the organizational health is essentially driven by four things. The first and foremost is the cohesiveness and the alignment of the leadership team. If a leadership team is aligned and there are limited gaps between the leaders, when the company speaks, then typically there is a unified message that gets cascaded throughout an organization. Conversely, if there are gaps between the leadership team, as that translates into messaging throughout the organization, there are chasms that open up in terms of the interpretations of the messages by the various stakeholder groups. And I'll talk a little bit about how that can be managed, because very often when we talk about culture, it's regarded as something that is again intangible and something that's somewhat amorphous. But from our experience, it is something that can be measured, it's something that can be managed, and it's something that can be invested in. The second discipline, or the second component of organizational health, is the consistency around organizational clarity. And from our perspective, and we've evolved this with the help of the Table Group, organizational clarity is really driven by 6 questions. Why do we exist? How do we behave? What is it we do? How do we succeed? What's important right now? And who does what? And when we first started on this journey of organizational health, when I canvassed the leadership team response to these 6 questions, I was flabbergasted by their diversity of response. And so one of the things that we've worked hard to do is ensure that there is consistency with understanding and consistency in terms of how we message our response to these things. And again, it reinforces the intellectual and the emotional alignment of the leadership team if you can get this right. Once you have a cohesive leadership team and once you have clarity around the basic organizational clarity questions, then a commitment needs to be given to over-communicate that clarity, and through the communication or over-communication of the clarity, the specifics of what defines the response to the 6 organizational clarity questions then needs to be institutionalized through the way in which a company hires, the way in which a company promotes, and the way in which a company celebrates success. And again, diversity is incredibly important to the 4 aspects of organizational health, and I'll talk to you about each one of them as we go through the presentation. We talk about the cohesiveness of a leadership team. Patrick Lencioni has written a book called The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. And the 5 dysfunctions of a team are trust, conflict, commitment, accountability, and results. And the base of a trusting team is trust, and it's not predictive trust. It's not the type of trust that gives us confidence in how we expect people to react when things happen. It's really vulnerability-based trust, and vulnerability-based trust is really all about a team's willingness to accept that they have weaknesses, a willingness by team members to ask for help, a willingness by team members to volunteer when things have not gone well, and when they've made mistakes. And 6 years ago, I had a leadership team that included 1 woman, and over the course of the last 6 years, we've moved from a leadership of 10 males and 1 female, and we've now got a 50-50 split in terms of the leadership team of our company. On Tuesday, we announced to the stock exchange that we were bringing in a woman COO, and that really rounds out the development of our leadership team. And what I've found in encouraging the commitment to vulnerability-based trust is that that mix that we now have, that diverse mix, has really helped us build the environment that has encouraged people to be transparent and open and vulnerable with each other. And it's that vulnerability that's enabled us to engage in passionate, unfiltered debate, conflict on the main issues that surround our company. And what I found is that when people weigh in on issues, when they feel confident in terms of being able to communicate their position on a particular issue, even if a decision is not made in their favor, when they weigh in, they typically buy in. One of the challenges that I give to my direct reports after we've had a debate about a particular issue is that people need to either agree and commit or disagree and commit, but everybody has to commit. And I think the compliance, as far as that challenge is concerned, is very much enhanced by, again, vulnerability, and very much enhanced by the commitment to conflict and passionate debate around the issues that matter. And again, diversity has played a significant role in the progress that we've made in this area. Once you get commitment, then typically people are accountable, and accountability drives results. And the success of our company, and some of you may know that in November of last year, we were very humbled by the fact that that we took Tata Technologies public, and we got a very positive response to the public listing. Our shares were oversubscribed to the tune of 70 times, and I'm absolutely convinced that the success that we've achieved in the last 4 to 5 years, financially, operationally, and in the context of the market position, it's been largely due to the culture that we've created inside of the company. And one of the things that that has underpinned our commitment to passionate, unfiltered debate or conflict is the work that we've done to ensure that when we enter into constructive discussion on issues, we've managed to ensure that we strike a balance between the personal relationships that we have to maintain as a leadership team, and the integrity of discussion around the topic itself. And we worked hard not only to achieve that balance, but as I said before, it's something that we measure. It's something that's tangible to us, and something that we as a leadership team reflect on a regular basis. In terms of driving clarity, I've talked in the summary at the work that we've done in and around the 6 basic organizational clarity questions. Why do we exist? How do we behave? What is it we do? How do we succeed? What's important right now? And who does what? You know, one of the things that is really important, I think, with any organization is particularly the top 2 questions: the purpose of the organization and the behavioral traits that define the culture. And we've spent a lot of time coming up with our vision of engineering a better world, and communicating that in the context of what it means, not just what we do, but how we do it. And then as far as values are concerned, we spend a lot of time segregating and curating our values. We've segregated our values into aspirational values, where we want the organization to be in 3 or 4 years. We've segregated values into permission to play values, and so the Tata Code of Conduct is positioned as part of the permission to play values. And we've defined 3 values that define the core of the culture inside of our company. And we spent a lot of time not only defining these values, but also establishing the language around them that's allowed us to cascade and communicate the values effectively. The 3 values that underpin the culture inside of Tata Technologies is one team with our customers. We are in the business of developing products like electric vehicles. And in order to be entrusted with the family jewels of any manufacturing company, we have to have an intimate relationship with our customers. And so we've captured that through our one team commitment. We're a global company, although we're very proud of our nexus here in India. We manage our global teams out of 18 different geographic locations. And so ethnic diversity is very important to us. And we've captured that through our global mindset commitment. And in the product development space, innovation is an integral part to the development of any new product. And we've captured that through our can-do attitude. And we've worked hard, again, to ensure that those values not only are positioned on plaques in the foyers of our various offices, but these things mean something. And we've spent a lot of time communicating not just the wording, but the implications for our various team members in different parts of the world. I'll skip these slides in the interest of time, and I'll go on to over communicating. You know, one of the things that I think most executives are not very good at is communication. I think research has reinforced that that typically people need to hear things 7 times in order to really embrace a message in the appropriate way. And executives are very bad at this, and particularly male executives. And I hold my hand up as being guilty of not communicating very effectively. I'm always reminded of the anecdote about the husband and the wife. And the wife says to the husband, "Why don't you tell me you love me anymore?" And the husband said that I did on the day that I married you, and if anything changes, I'll let you know. And all too often, I think inside of an organization, we communicate something once, and we feel that that reinforcing that is somewhat redundant. And I think that that we've worked hard inside of our organization to ensure that we have diverse teams that are responsible for communication. And we've worked hard to establish the protocols and the systems and processes that we use to achieve that objective of over communicating the clarity that we want to achieve inside of our business. And then reinforcing clarity is really all about ensuring that our systems and our processes, particularly as they relate to people, are configured to support and to align with the messaging around behavioral and the purpose objectives that we set for the company. So we recruit to values. We celebrate success around our values. We promote in and around the impact that our teams and individuals are making in support of the purpose that we represent as an organization. You know, we are absolutely convinced, because we've lived this and we've realized the value that it represents, that this is a tremendous source of competitive advantage. And as I referenced before, you know, this is not something that is intangible. This is not something that's amorphous and can't be managed. This is something that we treat as a deliberate responsibility of the leadership team and all of the people inside of our organization that have responsibility for others. As far as the leadership team is concerned, those 5 dysfunctions, every quarter, I take my leadership team when we do an offsite, and we measure the progress of the company or the progress of the leadership team against those 5 dysfunctions. As far as organizational clarity is concerned, we have an AI chatbot that is basically a digital learning post for our employees, and we test the understanding of the responses that the company has positioned against those 6 organizational clarity questions. And where there are gaps, we effect interventions, and we make sure we address those. You know, every single town hall, every online communication, every opportunity that the leadership team has to speak and communicate with others, not just others inside of our organization, but also stakeholders that surround the business. We take the opportunity to talk specifically about vision and our values, and we've worked hard, particularly in the last couple of years, to take that clarity that we've over communicated and reinforce it in the context of how we measure performance inside of our organization and how we look to grow the company through building others or bringing others in. I mentioned before that an integral part to this is our commitment to building an organization that embraces difference. We've talked and celebrated today difference in the context of gender, but we are absolutely committed to cultural and ethnic diversity, and we're also committed to providing opportunities for differently abled individuals in different parts of the world. And not only have we acknowledged the importance of this in terms of its moral imperative, we've also increasingly learned of the competitive advantage that it drives. And so I'm very proud of what we've achieved so far. There is much to do, and we are not complacent, but we are on a journey that we are committed to continue to reinforce and support. And with that, I'll hand it back and open it up for questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Harris, for your kind words for our organization, as well as the thought-provoking and insightful presentation you gave on the importance of culture, as well as the diversity in the context of culture. And truly, we can see it in your company, you know, that you have actually lived all the components of organizational health that you spoke about, and especially the clarity and reinforcing clarity. And we have a whole lot of questions about your company. And I would like to start with the first one, with your permission.
Sure.
Thank you. So please, could you share your views on the evolution of the automotive ecosystem, as well as how Tata Technologies has evolved in terms of your offerings?
Sure. I think it was Mary Barra, the chief exec and the chairman of General Motors, that wrote in her letter to shareholders that she felt in 2015 that the transformation that the automotive industry would undertake in the next 10 years was likely to be greater than the transformation that had gone on in the previous 50 years. And I think that's played out. I think we're seeing the industry transform along the vectors of electrification, the vectors of connected, the vector of autonomous, and the vector of shared. And I think that has challenged the industry to invest in technology. And I think what has happened is that the clock speed of technology change has accelerated far beyond what the industry has expected. And so what has happened is that the industry has fundamentally undertaken a very basic change. 10 years ago in the industry, the industry was controlled by OEMs like Tata Motors and Mahindra. They made all of the decisions. The integrated supply chain was positioned to fulfill those decisions, and it was very much a command and control industry. What the industry, because of technology, has evolved into is much more of an ecosystem. And what that's afforded is an opportunity for organizations like ourselves to lay claim to discrete components of the value chain. And so the type of work that we are doing today is fundamentally different than the work that we undertook 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we were very much positioning the services that we provided as a complement to the work that the OEMs and the tier ones and the tier two within the supply chains were undertaking. Today, we are being invited to undertake responsibility for developing complete vehicles. And we've recently just completed 2 vehicles for a Vietnamese OEM. And not only did we develop these 2 electric vehicles from concept all the way through the launch of those vehicles in the manufacturing facility, we completed those vehicles in 22 months. And the industry typically takes somewhere between 36 and 48 months to develop a vehicle. So we are incredibly proud of what we've done, and I'm very excited about the tailwinds that represents for the future. Just to give everybody a quick briefing in terms of what it is specifically we do, there's really two components to our value proposition. One is outsourced product development. And so the work that we do in terms of developing electric vehicles falls into that category, and that's 2/3 of our business. But we also help our customers select and deploy the technology on which new products are built. And so we're able not only to develop the product, but implement the tools around which the products are developed, either by ourselves or by the customers that use them. And in both areas, we are seeing significant change because of technology, and with change has become significant opportunity.
Thank you, sir. That was very insightful. I'd like to invite our Bombay committee member, Shweta Sachdev, for the next question.
Thank you, Meghna. Good afternoon, Mr. Harris.
Hi, Shweta.
My question is on artificial intelligence. The impact of artificial intelligence on various sectors is already being felt, and the future holds more disruption, both positive and negative. Would love to hear your thoughts on how you think AI might shake things up.
AI is not a new concept. I'll expose how old I am now by telling you that that in the early 90s, one of the things that I did as a young engineer was develop generative design applications using expert system shells that were based on much of the same technology that is underpinning the tool sets like ChatGPT and some of the Gen AI platforms. What's fundamentally changed is the compute power and the ability to be able to solution challenges in real time. And I think that the breakthrough that has happened over the last couple of years has really provided an inflection point for society, not just the industries like manufacturing and banking and communications. I think there's a societal change that Gen AI will drive. You know, I think right now we are right at the beginning of the hype curve. I think most organizations are investing in POCs, but I think one of the things that is very different about this particular wave of technology-driven change is just the speed at which it's happening. You know, I was part of a group of execs that met Satya Nadella in January of last year when Microsoft announced the investment in OpenAI, and he came to Bombay House and he came and spoke to the Tata Group, and many of my colleagues had never heard of Gen AI at the time. Now, almost every Tata Group company has dedicated teams that are investing time and effort in deploying Gen AI internally within their companies, and looking at how they can disrupt their lines of services and their products to leverage the contribution of the technology itself. And so I think it's going to have a massive impact upon the world, and I think that there's a very interesting and important debate that we need to have about the societal impact and how we deal with that.
Okay. Yep. Thank you so much. Over to you, Meghna.
Thank you. Can we have Shweta Singhal from our Calcutta chapter, please?
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Harris. My question is, 57% of your revenue is coming from top few clienteles. Do you think it to be a risk of dependence on a few clientele?
That's a great question, and I did the roadshow before the IPO, and we did a 4-week roadshow. We spent a week in Mumbai. We did time in Singapore and Hong Kong, London, New York, Boston, and Singapore. And I think I met 135, 136 funds during that time, and every single fund manager asked me that question. And so it's a question that I think is fair, and I think it's important for us to be transparent in terms of our position on it. You know, we think that that if you have a relationship with a customer that that is positioned to enable an organization like ourselves to deliver next generation products, you're essentially being entrusted to deliver the competitive position of that company in 3 or 4 years' time. So trust is incredibly important, and trust has to be underpinned by a commitment to complementary positioning and mutual success. And typically it's very strategic. And so in the business that we are in, I think it's always going to be that we will have a relatively small number of very strategic customers. And so by its very nature, there will be a level of client concentration that we will have to grapple with. Now, at the moment, if you look at our business, the top 3 customers, you know, represent significantly more than 50%. That's not a healthy position for us to be in, and so we're working hard on our customer pyramid to identify those existing relationships that have the opportunity to become strategic, and we have a roadmap for that, and again we're focusing our resources and our efforts to ensure that we accelerate our way through that.
Thank you so much.
Great question, though.
Okay.
Can we have Sushila Jain from Calcutta for the next question, please?
Yeah, Mr. Harris, sir, you have trained as an engineer and a management professional and have consistently evolved as a leader. Any lesson you wish to share for young leaders?
Again, a great question. I think I've been very fortunate in my career. My dad always used to tell me that it's better to be lucky than good, and I think I've been extremely fortunate in the opportunities that I've been given. I trained as a mechanical engineer in the UK. That company was taken over in the late 80s in one of the first leverage buyouts in London, and so I joined a small design services company, and that company was acquired by a public company, and that public company got into trouble, and 10 of us had the opportunity to take our division private, and so we effected a management buyout, and we struggled to make payroll for a couple of years, and then managed to get the business up and running. We took it public, and then Mr. Tata came along, and we were acquired and became part of the Tata Group. And so, you know, I've had all sorts of opportunities that have presented themselves to me, and I think throughout anybody's career, there are multiple opportunities that present themselves. They're not always obvious. They're not always something that screams at you, but there are opportunities there. And I think if I had advice for anybody, is just to be sensitive to those opportunities, and to be open to the implications that those opportunities can provide. And I've not always been good at what I've done, but I've always been willing to work hard where there have been gaps, and I've always been open to the opportunities that have been presented themselves. And I've had such a privileged career that has afforded me the opportunity to work in different parts of the world, and work with great companies and great people. And
Oh, wow.
I'm very grateful, very, very humbled by what has been provided for me.
Thank you. It's a good idea. It's a great idea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was truly inspirational, Mr. Harris. We really have so much to learn from what you said. Opportunities do come to everyone, but how sensitive you are and what you make out of it is actually the key. I'd like to now invite Rohini Jain. She's from where you are right now, sir, Pune.
Good evening, Mr. Harris.
Hi.
Once you mentioned that the best definition of innovation is the idea which truly has the economic value. So how do you implement this idea into your business?
Yeah, great question. And as I mentioned in the presentation, fresh ideas really can't come out of an organization that tends towards groupthink, and so diversity is an incredibly important part of building the environment in which fresh ideas can flourish. And so the first thing that I would reinforce is just the importance of culture. Culture is the environment in which new ideas should emanate from. And if you get the culture right, if you get the environment right, if you get the context right, then fresh ideas come. We have a number of formal processes that we use to target innovations and to promote fresh thinking on topics that require it. We have our own internal innovation contest. It's a company and a group contest. It's called Innovista, and we look at dare to try ideas. So these are ideas that have come up and have failed. These are opportunities for us to learn, and we celebrate that, and we reward people for taking the risk associated with that. We look at business impact, and we celebrate that. So we look at the challenge of taking an idea through the entire life cycle towards an offering or a line of service. We also look at business model and process innovation, and celebrate and highlight that. So we have an internal competition. We provide time for our engineers in terms of internal R&D projects. We provide a budget for that. We provide resources for that, and we treat our internal projects as seriously as we treat our customer projects. And we really provide again recognition and rewards, to those individuals during the course of the year that have inspired others in and around innovation. And as I positioned, as far as our core values are concerned, we talk about our core values all the time, and this core value of our can-do attitude, that is something that provides us with the opportunity of just reinforcing all the time that in the product development space, the great companies are innovative companies.
Yes, sir. That is so true, that innovation in every sphere really is important. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Can we have our President Dineep from Bangalore, our Bangalore chapter president, please?
Good evening, Mr. Harris. It's actually on a Women's Day, hearing you speak has been the best thing of a day, and also the information that you gave about your company, truly, like Meghna said, inspirational. My question here would be that your company was also a part of China Neo's R&D team. how did you capitalize your expertise there to build in other markets, especially Europe, North America, India? Your thoughts on that?
That's a great question, and thank you for your generous comments, Dinit. That's very nice of you. We're very proud of the relationship with NIO. NIO, for those that don't know, is really the flagship EV company in China. NIO and BYD are synonymous with the transition to electric vehicles. And I actually met William Li, who is the chairman and the chief executive of NIO, when he had 35 employees. And I met him in Shanghai in 2015. And he didn't talk about any product. He just talked about his vision of changing the world. And even though a small startup with 35 people represented a risk to us, particularly in terms of collecting monies for the services that we provided, because I was so inspired by him, I decided to go to the board and position that we should take the risk and we should invest in this organization, and we did. And initially, we were the engineering company or the engineering division for NIO. The ES8, which was their flagship product, the first product that they launched into China, we developed from concept all the way through the launch of the vehicle in their production facility, which was part of a JV with another Chinese company. And we learned a great deal about the Chinese consumer. And there was a number of innovations that were interjected into that product. One of the things that NIO have done is that they have pioneered a battery swap proposition. If you are in China and your battery runs low on charge, you can dial up a mobile vehicle that will come and swap your battery out and put another one in. And so there's no charging requirement. And there are battery swap facilities in different parts of the big cities. We engineered that whole solution. So we learned a lot about the Chinese consumer. We beat all lightweight body index targets for the global market through the work that we undertook. And for, again, those of you that don't know, a lightweight body structure is an essential condition for an electric vehicle because the propulsion system is not as efficient yet as an internal combustion engine. So we learned a great deal about lightweighting, and then we were able to capitalize experience on things like battery swap, and that story and the capabilities that we were able to accrue from our involvement with NIO, notwithstanding the confidentiality commitments we're making to NIO, that experience we were able to position for the likes of VinFast and JLR. We did the Polestar 1 for Volvo when they introduced the Polestar. We're working with companies like Rivian and even Tesla now. And the NIO story is a story that I think has commanded the respect of the entire industry. So it's legitimized our capabilities in a way that even we didn't expect when we first engaged.
Absolutely. Choosing the right partner is most important. That's what our mentor also always mentions. Thank you so much.
Great message. Thank you.
Truly incredible, the kind of things we're hearing from you. I'd like to now invite Pooja Narang from Singapore, please. She's joining us from Singapore, sir. We have like members all over the globe now.
That's great.
Good evening, Mr. Harris.
Hi.
My question to you is related to autonomous driving. So as the world is adopting autonomous driving, what are the challenges we are seeing for the Indian economy and the opportunities as well? And how is Tata Technology playing a role in addressing those?
Great question. And whenever I think about autonomous driving, I think if there's a city that needs autonomous driving, it's Mumbai, and that's where I live. And so I'm a great champion of autonomous driving. One, because I think the impact that it can have on safety. You know, there are still 1.2 million people that are killed on the roads every single year, and I'm absolutely convinced with the technology that exists today, we could bring that down. I think the challenges that we face is one of consumer sentiment. I think that there is still a lot of anxiety about abdicating control of a moving object to a piece of software, and I think we've got to build legitimacy for the technology that exists, and I think there's great companies that are doing that. But you know, I have to say that I expected things to progress far faster than they have. Now, one of the things that we did in 2012 was we worked with the Google X team when they were pioneering the autonomous driving capabilities before Google X became Waymo. And at that time, I was convinced that it was only going to be a couple of 3 years before we had a roadworthy autonomous passenger driving capability. So I'm disappointed that it's taken a lot longer, and I think that's a testament to the comprehensive challenge that full level 5 autonomous driving represents. So I think consumer sentiment is an issue. I think the comprehensive nature of the challenge and addressing all of the use cases is a challenge. I think cost is still a challenge. You know, I think when you look at the technology stack that informs autonomous driving, I still think there's a lot of frugal innovation that's got to be applied to it before it becomes a technology that can be pervasively available. And you know, if I look forward and I predict where I think autonomous driving will move first, is I think that it will happen in geo-fenced cities, and I think the use cases will be very different. I think if you look at a city like Chicago, where you have residential accommodation and properties with commercial properties, all in the same area, I think you'll have pod-like autonomous robo-taxis that will take people from point A to point B. And I think that use case will require collaboration between the public sector and the private sector. But I think we're very close to that, given the work that's going on in China and on the West Coast. I think in cities like LA, where nobody lives downtown and everybody commutes in from the outside, I think you'll see autonomous driving solutions that will be an extension of the office or the home, and I think you'll have the same sort of connectivity and same sort of office infrastructure that we typically have in our facilities, you know, our work facilities in different parts of the world. In terms of what we do, Tata Technologies, you know, we do a lot of work in and around the software for ADAS systems, advanced driver assist capabilities. We do a lot of packaging of autonomous driving systems into vehicles, because it's not just the software itself. It's not just the motors. You know, you've got all of the cameras and the lidars and all of that has to be integrated and connected. And so we do a lot of work in that area. And you know, routinely now most vehicles that are being sold are, you know, level 2, level 3 autonomy. And you know, in the context of our full vehicle proposition, you know, we have to take responsibility for aggregating the components that come together and fitting those into the vehicles that we design and develop.
That was really interesting. Thank you so much. I can totally relate to the customer anxiety, but for what it's worth, I'm looking forward to riding in one of them.
You and me both. You and me both.
Thank you.
So we would have loved to ask you more questions. We had a lot more planned, but we totally, value your time. So thank you so much for this incredible session and giving us so many insights and empowering us. I would now like to invite our Mumbai chapter committee member, Dr. Bhakti Pujara, to present the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Meghna. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of our organization, Millennium Mams, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Warren Harris for gracing this event here today. What better day to host an esteemed speaker like you on our all-women's platform than today as we celebrate International Women's Day. Your perspectives aligned with Tata Technologies' motto, engineering a better world, deeply resonate with us. We appreciate your time and valuable insights, especially regarding the leadership and environment requirements for an organization, which made this session truly memorable. We eagerly anticipate the continued impact of your wisdom on our collective journey. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank our mentors, Mr. Bishnu Dhanuka and Mr. Sanjay Bhuvania, for continuously inspiring and guiding us through our journey of becoming financially literate and independent. Lastly, wishing us all Millennium Mams a happy Women's Day. Thank you, everyone.